Hey there. Hello, YouTube. Hopefully, some people will join me in a few minutes and I won't be sitting here all alone. So, we just had the Lionsgate portal, which was really, really powerful energy. And now we'll see what happens after that because I don't know what will happen after that energy does its thing and we move forward into the next phase of where we're going. What I do know, and if you've been hanging around, you do too, is that we just completed the 21-day meditation challenge, which was fabulous. Hey there, everybody. I see your names popping up in the chat. Thanks for being here. I thought I'd be talking to myself for a while. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So if you guys have got metaphysical questions, put them in the chat. We can talk about any metaphysical topics. I won't be doing personal questions on this live stream. I do that on the third Saturday of the month on Zoom, so I can see you when we do the personal stuff. But any kind of metaphysical stuff is up for grabs, and let's see where that goes. Hey, let's see. We got Sugar and Spice. We got Rebecca. We got Christina, Betty Max, Janny K. We are magic. Oh, yes, indeed we are. Hi, Louise. So glad you could make it. Hi, Dolmans. I'm again. Oh, imaginable meditations with Sheena. Sorry about that. It took me a minute to click in. Okay. Oh, gosh. And my drink is spilling all over the place. Yeah, that's good. We're getting off to a great start here. Glad I saw it now because it was leaking on my phone. Oh, my gosh. Can you imagine? Oh, yeah, I was struggling with my microphone before you guys got here because every time I touch it, it goes in and out. So let me know if the sound is okay. The test said it was okay, but I'm a little suspicious sometimes of those tests. So it doesn't hurt to double check. All right, so who else have we got here? Looks like we have 7 people. Yay, at 7. Oh, wow, you guys, 7 people at 7 o'clock. That's pretty darn cool. Awesome, awesome. So if you got here after I mentioned it, please post your metaphysical questions in the chat and we'll be going over them. Oh, so your question got broken up, Diamonds. There are many words like soul, spirit, higher self, divine, guides, angels. Are any of them the same? Well, because we're all one and the divine connectedness, they kind of are all the same, but there's a slight difference to them. So let's just go through them. So soul, that's the energy that animates our body. We are made of energy. We are souls. So that's what soul is. Spirit, some people call their soul a spirit. Some people call it an inner being. When I think of spirit, though, I think of like my spirit guides. So for me, that would be Akashic Records guides because that's who I'm dealing with. Some people do work with spirit guides, and I'm not sure where they're coming from, so that I can't speak to. But yeah, so you kind of have to ask people to specify if there's a question about where this guide is coming from. Higher self. So higher self, in my book, I explain this because it's kind of a complicated thing. So we have the 3 aspects of our self. That would be our ego, our higher self, and our soul. So the ego, of course, is here. It's 3rd dimensional. It's in our body. And then the higher self is 4th dimensional. So you might hear people talk about doing a meditation where you lift up out of your crown chakra into that space up here. And that's like a 4th dimensional place. And then the soul is 5th dimensional. That's where the Akashic records are. So what happens is that in the beginning, before we really got more awakened and understood about being a soul and connecting as a soul, we were functioning with the higher self and the ego. Soul was just kind of an afterthought at that point. Now, rather than letting higher self be kind of the mediator or the arbitrator between the two, for me anyway, it's oneness. They're all one. And I think of myself as the soul. I am the embodied soul. And that's what a lot of this awakening process is all about. There's a meditation that I shared with a lot of you. I think I shared it with everybody in the 21-day meditation challenge, and I've shared it previously with others. It's the powwow with ego, higher self, and soul, the three aspects of ourself. And in that powwow, it's a process of sitting together, working through our differences, coming to terms with each other, making friends with ego and higher self so that we can work together as that one dynamic body, if that makes sense, to achieve our higher purpose. So I think most of you have that. And if you don't have that, just let me know and I'll get you a link. So let me just scroll back and see what questions I might have missed. Oh, and I'm sorry, Dalmans, I didn't finish yours. So we got to higher self and then divine. When I think of divine, to me, that's creator, God, source, universe, whatever you call your higher power. To me, that's divine. And then guides and angels, those are from our Akashic Records, and we connect with them that way. So we have an inner circle of guides that are with us all the time. That's usually anywhere between 5 and 7 that we have that are right here with us, like, all around, practically touching us, with us all the time. And then we have a larger circle that is mostly interacting with us through the records as opposed to being here present in the third dimension with us. So let me know if that makes sense. And, guides and angels are kind of interchangeable, really. I mean, they mostly serve the same purpose. So feel free to call them whatever feels good to you. They're okay with that. They don't care. They just want to serve you. So call them, let them help you. That will make them very happy because that's their job. And if you're not giving them something to do, they're kind of bored and, playing tiddlywinks. What have they got to do, right? So give them a lot of work to do. Keep them busy. All right. Janny, thank you for the sound check. Awesome. Betty, thank you for the sound. Nina, thank you for the sound. Okay. Gina, thank you for the sound check. Awesome. Christina, you say you've encountered many that are just awakening. Some have memories, but parts are missing. Does a soul integration need to be done? Well, a soul integration is probably a helpful thing if you're on the awakening journey, but not everybody's ready for that. So I know I went through quite a process from when I first started awakening and becoming aware of myself as a soul until I got to this place where I'm very connected and, dialoguing with them pretty much all the time. So it's a process. And part of what we're doing is we're respecting other people's journey. So absolutely share your stories with them, inspire them, let them know what's available. And if they ask for it, then you can share more information with them and help them on their ascension process. Because as soon as they're starting to awaken and ask questions, we want to be there and helping them. You just want to find a balance where you're not giving them too much too soon. If you think back to your own journey where you were when you started, some of the things that you know now and that we're talking about, like it's just every day, would have scared the pants off of you, right? I know it certainly would have me. It took me a while to get to this place. So it's just being sensitive to where they're at and feeding it to them piece by piece as they're ready. And the really cool thing is because of all of the shifting energy as we're moving towards this great shift and Earthtopia, is that more and more people are awakening faster and faster than ever before. So it's just kind of up to us to find that happy place and help them along. Kind of like children, when you start teaching things to children, you don't want to give them things that they're not ready for. You feed it to them as they're ready. I hope that makes sense. Okay, and let's see. Oh, and you also said that some have memories, but parts are missing. Yeah, they will, and some of them will be aware that they are past life memories. Others will not. And, a while back, Metatron explained to me that deja vu is a past life memory. That's what's happening. And when I understood that, it really changed it a lot as perspective-wise. So that was like, wow, that's a big truth bomb, isn't it? So most people are experiencing deja vu. They just haven't connected the dots yet, and they will at some point because they're starting to remember those pieces of past lives when they're ready to do something about it. So there's something in that past life that's connected to probably a trauma that is still impacting them in their present life. That's why it comes up, because they don't give us stuff that we're not ready to deal with. It's not just random curiosity seeking kind of thing. So if something from a past life comes up, that means it's ready for you to delve into it, start dealing with it, figuring out, connecting the dots from the past life to the present. That's something I do in my karmic readings. I help people with that a lot because things will be coming up. They don't understand them. And then also we go beyond that and we look for all of the issues that are showing up in their records as being ready to be cleared, and we deal with them too. So there's lots of ways of doing it. Some people do past life regressions. Those can be really helpful. So it's, go with your intuition, your gut, what feels right to you. There's a lot of options out there. Hope that answers your question, Gina. Oh, I'm sorry, Christina, you were the one who asked that. Sugar and spice, you saw a shooting star. What does it mean when they move? Well, we know scientifically that shooting stars are dying planets, and we're probably seeing them long after they've already died. But I don't know, to me, they're kind of magical, and it's almost like a God wink when you see them, because think of all the things that are going on out there to distract you. And what are the chances that you would be in the right place at the right time to actually see that shooting star? So then that's just my opinion. That's how I feel about it energetically, but I feel like it's a God wink, and it's just part of that magic of living connected to your soul, to your records, to your guides and angels, and being aware of those little things that they sprinkle for us all the time that are so magical when you notice them and take action upon them. And to me, that's like, this is what we're all moving towards, because who doesn't want to live what feels like a magical life? It's so much more fun and just satisfying and delightful. So the more we can do that, the better. Betty Max, are the angels and spirit guides also the Akashic team, or are they separate? Yeah, they're part of your Akashic team. And remember, I don't know if you were here when we talked about it, Betty, but I was talking about it with somebody previously on a gathering, and it's like your team is legion. It's masters, it's enlightened beings, it's teachers, it's angels, it's spirit guides. It's this vast team, and thousands, it's legion, whatever that means. And if you did need more, you can always call for more. You can ask for reinforcements to help with a special project. And then when they're done, they go back. But you have this massive team helping you, because for each of us, we're such unpredictable creatures. They line up all of this stuff for us so that we can have these experiences. They have all of these paths that we cross with people and things and opportunities. So they get it all lined up, and then one of us makes a different choice, and bam, there goes the plan. Now they've got to reconnoiter, and probably the other person, or whatever the eventuality was on their side, their guides have got to do the same thing. So if you can imagine the scramble that happens when we do that, we choose something different than what they anticipated. Now they've got to go and retool everything and get us lined up again so that we can experience those magical moments and those opportunities, those doors that are opening for us. So yeah, it takes a whole massive team to manage us. Thank you for the hearts, Debbie. Louise, if we have various exit points in any given incarnation, how come we're not aware of them as we go through the years? Well, until recently, Louise, we weren't aware of any of that stuff. We were so unawakened. We were just focused on our 3D life. We didn't understand so much about the spiritual side. So it's only now as we're becoming more aware that we're even understanding those things as concepts. So yeah, we do have multiple exit points that we choose ahead of time. So as we approach them intuitively, without probably being conscious up until recently, we just go with what we felt like. We either stay or we go, depending on where we were at in that journey. If we felt complete, if the soul felt complete, then it would find a way to exit. But if it didn't, then it would stay longer. So right now, more of them are staying longer because we're needing as many light workers as we can get to lead us into and through the great shift. I hope that makes sense and answers your question. Let me know. Gina, is it okay to send positive healing energy to someone you do not have direct permission from? Yeah, because that's love. Love is always okay. You send it to them, send all you want, and they either accept it or they don't. That's where the line is drawn. So they don't have to accept it. So you can send all you want. There's no limitation on that. And in this time, again, that we're going through, why not send more love to more people? Send it to the whole planet, whatever you feel led to do. It's beautiful, it's sacred, and quite profound. So blessings to you for doing that. Rebecca, how can we perceive time even though it doesn't exist? Was it developed by the human ego? Oh, wow. Let me just check in and see what they have to say about that, because I'm not quite sure. So what can you tell us about time? Is it our ego that helps us to perceive time? Okay, so they're saying it was a construct that was set up in this 3D environment because we had to have some kind of measurements for our lives. It's a whole different way of being in the third dimension. So it just is, it exists in the third dimension. On other dimensions, it's very different. It's kind of, some people talk about it like a layer cake where it's all, overlapping each other. But we had to have some kind of a different way of functioning. And of course, as the planet has evolved, time was involved there. So there had to be that measurement for third dimension. That's what I'm getting right now. So if you want more than that, Rebecca, let me know. And Dowman says it makes sense. Thank you. Oh, you're so welcome. Christina, yes, good. Okay. Hey, warrior girl. Thanks for being here. So glad you could make it. Sugar and Spice, sending gratitude. Much appreciation for that. Thank you. Heather, do you do readings during the live or general questions only? Readings, not exactly, Heather. What I'm doing is I'm answering metaphysical questions on this particular live stream. I do personal questions on my monthly Zoom. So if you're not on my mailing list, you want to be, because I'll invite you to that private Zoom where people come and they ask their personal questions. That's every month, like clockwork. Rebecca, has the moon something to say to humans? I feel a lot of people have a deep connection, but don't get what she wants to give, say, make, or feel. Well, yeah, I think the moon probably does have a lot to say, but not everybody feels drawn to the moon. See, you probably do because of experiences you've had, the way your soul is wired, and your inquisitive nature. I know you have a great inquisitive nature. So you are making that connection, but not everybody feels drawn to do that. It's like this Lionsgate that just happened. People were asking me in the meditation group, what does it mean? And I had to say, I really don't know. I probably know as much as you do because I'm not into astrology. So I haven't studied up on it. I haven't done any of the special activations or any of those things that people do with it, but I was aware of it and I could feel the energy. So when I realized that Metatron had orchestrated that meditation challenge so that we ended on Lionsgate, it was like, poof, wow. That's meaningful. That's something exceptional and special to take notice of. So I shared that with you. And since then, I've learned a little bit more about it. It's a confluence of planets. And this one this year was particularly strong. There were more reverberations going on. So it was more pivotal and meaningful for everybody. Plus, it's also part of that great shift that we're moving towards, right? Everything is amping up as it needs to, as we're all moving in that direction. So for the moon, I think, Rebecca, if you feel led, share that with other people, because, it may never have occurred to them that they could even have a conversation with the moon if they wanted to. Just like if you saw the posts in the group about trees, that you can have a conversation with a tree. They have a lot of wisdom to share. And they were voluntarily set up as sentinels for humanity, because before that they had the ability to move freely. They weren't rooted into the ground, and they chose to be the sentinels for humanity, and they took down roots, and they serve in that capacity, even though they know that we chop them down and kill them and use them for various purposes. Just like the animals know, they come and they know that some of them will end up being consumed and nourishing people. and they accept that. It's the luck of the draw whether you get eaten or not, just like it is for anybody in the wild. So yeah, there's a lot going on with that. You are so welcome, Betty. Yeah, warrior girl, it's a gift to be shared. It's so true because all of us have these understandings and different ways of looking at the world. And it's so important that we share that with those who we feel led to share it with. It's like I posted this meme today about, your soul did not come here to be a mouse in a box, to live with limitations. Your soul came to soar free, to expand your consciousness, to have this joyous lifetime. And so much of what we're taught when we're younger and then we fall into these roles, it's like we wear blinders, and it's like we're living in these little boxes voluntarily, but we didn't even realize it. So once you come to that place of awakening, you realize, oh my gosh, I put myself in this box. Then it's time to question everything. Does this work for my soul? And if it doesn't work for your soul, discard it, get rid of it. Don't let it limit you. So as you start questioning everything and tapping into greater wisdom and knowledge and inspiration, your life just expands, gets more joyous and more magical. So I encourage all of you, get out of those boxes. And the truth is that these boxes we built for ourselves never had lids on them. We could have always gotten out the top, but we didn't see that. So now it's time to knock down the walls and just get rid of those limiting beliefs. So anytime you encounter an I can't, ask yourself, how can I? Because truly you create your own reality. There's nothing you can't do. You can do whatever you choose to do. The caveat is you may not do it in the way you envision it. It might need to be tweaked a little bit. And that's where you allow your guides to help you with this or something better. And they will bring in the pieces to facilitate that for you. So whenever you are manifesting, always be conscious of asking for this or something better, and then be in the flow. Allow your guides to bring to you the components that you need to have your manifestation. Hope that makes sense. You're so welcome, Gina. Betty says, is it best to surrender to the outcome when asking for manifestation? Thank you. This is a great question, Betty, and not for the reason you probably think. You are not asking for a manifestation. You are the creator of your reality. You are creating what you want to manifest. Your guides are helping to facilitate it. So it's not like what many of us were taught, like you go to God and you pray and Father, can I have this? It's not like that. You are saying, as the creator of my reality, this is what I choose to create. You put that energy out there, and then your guides will bring these circumstances, people, inspired ideas into your path. When you see them, you take action upon them. So your inspired action along with your desire leads to your manifestation. Let me know if that makes sense. You're so welcome, Warrior Girl. Louise, you're welcome. Warrior Girl asked, can you tell me the name I had when I was incarnated in Atlantis? Come to the Zoom and ask me that question. I'll be in a different energy then, and I can go into your record and I can ask about stuff like that. Christina, why does Metatron show up as Toth and the man in purple? Is it the same as us appearing differently during astral projection? So what I know, Christina, is that our guides can take many shapes. Sometimes they do it to entertain us. Sometimes they do it because there's a bigger message and they're able to demonstrate it to us metaphorically, perhaps by the shape that they take. So like I've had green dragons show up and talk to me and other creatures. And were they the same guide or angel I've talked to before? Probably. The ones that work with us all the time, they will just change shape. And so for me, Metatron has shown up in several guises, and it doesn't matter. The energy is what I feel. I can tell it's Metatron because of the energy. And that's how I made the connection that these other beings, were other lives that Metatron had had, and was sharing all of that wisdom and knowledge with us. So yeah, they do it for various reasons, but you know what? Ask them when they show up and they're in some different guise that you're not used to. Ask them why they chose that one and see what they say, because that would be really fascinating to hear. And then let us know, because we all want to know what happened. So about astral projection, I don't know, because when I see astral projection, I see myself as I am now. So I'm there interacting with whomever, whatever energy is there. So I'm always seeing myself as my present version of self, if that makes sense. Do you see yourself differently? Let me know in the comments. That would be really cool to hear. You are welcome, Rebecca. Dalmans, you remembered one more. Does one soul have more than one human being incarnated at the same time? Let me think about this. You see, you get into that tricky thing about what's time, right? So you have this one soul, but part of your soul is existing here in your third dimensional body. Part of your soul is on other planes doing other things. You know, part of you is still in the records doing your studies. And because of that whole overlapping time, all of your lives are happening at the same time, theoretically, right? So that means, yeah, fragments of your soul is all over the place. But so I guess, yeah, technically it is, but they're all you. It's not like they're different yous. It's kind of complex. Let me know if that makes sense to you, because there could be something else you had on your mind that I'm just missing. So let me know. Louise, is the vaccinated, non-vaccinated rift part of the split of souls who are choosing New Earth and those who choose to stay in the lower timelines? I don't know that that specifically is part of it, Louise, because the funny thing is, you know, I'm choosing not to be vaccinated because I have a whole long history of not trusting the medical profession. They've not done well by me, and I'm not trusting them to put that stuff in my body. And not just that one. I don't trust them to put anything in my body. I'll figure it out myself. And yet, this is kind of like an out of body weird experience. Now I'm elbowing with people who are QAnon flat earth people. And it's like, well, that's kind of mind bending. So, okay, we share that one belief that there's something not good for us there. So I guess the best thing I could give you for that, Louise, is let's not let that tear us apart. Let's respect one another's beliefs. You know, we just got an email from my sister-in-law saying, we understand you're not vaccinated. Could you please consider getting vaccinated so that you can come to Thanksgiving dinner? And I'm like, whoa, honey, if this is something I believe deeply, why would I change just to come to dinner with you? I mean, that's outrageous. That's so disrespectful of someone else's beliefs. So I think, and again, my opinion, if we can allow people to have their own opinions, deal with it in their own way, and then meanwhile, take precautions. I'm wearing a mask. You know, I'm social distancing. I'm doing what I feel is the responsible thing to do for myself. And I think that's all we can really do. And this thing will clear up eventually if we all practice safety, right? The reason that it's spread and it's gotten so out of hand is that people weren't being safe. I mean, over the weekend, they just had this massive bike rally, motorcycle rally in, was it Minnesota? I think it was Minnesota or South Dakota, South Dakota. Guess what? Last year they did the same thing. And afterwards we had this massive outbreak, and it didn't just stay in their state. They spread it all over the country. So that's why this thing isn't better now, because people haven't been responsible. So I think it's really a call for self-responsibility, right? It's not just about you, it's about everybody. But I don't feel that means I have to get a vaccination to make you feel safe, because I feel that would be harmful to my physical body. And I'm doing my best to stay as healthy as I can, because I've got massive work to do here, just like all of you do. We have got this huge task in front of us, and we need to be healthy and strong for that. Now, that said, I am not encouraging any of you not to get vaccinated. If you feel it's right for you, then please go do it, right? It's a very personal, individual decision. and it should be based upon studying the situation and your personal beliefs, what you're aligned with, and then being responsible and thinking of others. So I hope that makes sense, Louise. Debbie said she's been having chats with the moon and Sirius. Where did it go? It just jumped on me. Hang on. Oh, there it is. And the clouds, and they always listen. That is so cool, Debbie. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, anything that's energy, even rocks. You can talk to rocks. You can talk to plants, animals. Anything you feel inspired to engage with, do. See what happens. And write it down, because you might get some really profound things in the moment. Part of your mind is going to be saying, yeah, I made that up. Don't listen to it. That's your ego. Write down whatever you get, even if you think you made it up. Save it, because down the road, you might make connections to other things that you learn elsewhere. And it's like, oh, wow, this is a very important piece of the puzzle for helping you to understand the bigger picture. Does that make sense? Let me know. Rebecca, you talked with the moon, but you just met some people who were also feeling drawn. Awesome. You know what? Get them together. Talk to the moon together, or like make your own moon circle. That would be really cool. We've got places around here where people do that, for various occasions, or just because they want to. If you're feeling that excited about it, share it. Get more people involved. And that's how we can all move us forward faster. Because gosh, we got a lot of work to do. Heather says, what do the Akashic Records say about positive oriented dark black and very dark gray wedge-shaped planetary vehicles? Where are they from, and why would they want to communicate with people on Earth? Okay, all right, what do you want to tell us about that? Okay, so Heather, Earth, in terms of all of the planets out there, is a younger planet. The beings on the planet are a less evolved species. Some of us who are starseeds, and probably you if you're here, because most of us who are interested in this kind of stuff are starseeds. We came from other planets. We came to Earth to help evolve it. There are some particular starseed groups. There's one group called the Blueprinters. They have been around since before humanity even was here on Earth. They've been coming periodically, and what they do is they help to evolve us. They raise us to the next level of evolution. So each time we're ready for a shift up, they show up again to help us. And we're seeing lots of them now because that's what's going on. Now, you might have heard of the Pleiadians. They're around because, again, they are interested in helping us to evolve. The Pleiadians also have interesting energy that they just love to do experiments and watch negative and positive energy. They're very playful in that way. And so I think that's part of what intrigues them about Earth, because there's a lot of negative energy here and they just like to be a part of it. So that's what they're doing. And then the Syrians are here and they bring their own energy and their own agenda. But, there are lots of other groups out there that have been participating, and some of their people are incarnated on Earth in the human form. So they're probably connecting with them, but it's way massive, bigger than what we've ever realized. And the more I study these various starseeds and learn more about them, the more bigger and massive it becomes in understanding all of this that's been going on all this time that we were so clueless about. But, some people would have contact, some people would see them and wonder. So it was always kind of there on the fringes for those who were tuned in. It's just now more people are tuning in and noticing. And I think that's purposeful, because we're at a place where we're more responsible. Because, if you think about it, had they done this when we were less evolved, we might have blown them up if we saw them. So it was partly for their protection as well. But, it's like they're guardians, some of them. And others are just, they're curious. They want to be a part of watching what happens here. So it's not one agenda. I guess that's the bottom line of what I'm trying to say. It's not one agenda. It's multiple. But none of them that I have connected with so far have been meaning harm or dark. There's a group of draconians, but I haven't really had much contact with them. I don't think they're attracted to me, and I'm certainly not attracted to them. There are some on Earth. There's some of the negative people who are really dragging us into the shadows, but I'm not feeling them outside of that at this point. That might change in the future. Who knows? But that's something I'm studying and will be moving more into in the future. Debbie, you're finding your imagination again. That's awesome. That's so awesome. And it's so important in what you're doing. You lost the technique for a few years. You're starting to find it easier to see in your meditations, practicing every day. That's so beautiful. And thank you for sharing that, Debbie, because it's something a lot of people don't understand. They think that if they're meditating and they get things that feel like they're imaginary, that it's wrong and they shut it down. When in fact, some of the information you do get from your guides will come to you looking very much like a dream or a daydream. So just go with it. If you've connected with your Akashic Records, your intention is to receive information, then just trust that everything that comes through is for your highest and best. And then you get to decide what you're going to do about it, right? And that's where you want to, I recommend anyway, write it down, record it in some fashion, because if you don't, number one, you'll forget it. It won't stick with you long because life is busy and hectic and those things are fleeting. But also because they are feeding us bits and pieces as we're ready, and they fit together like this giant puzzle. So you won't have that hindsight if you haven't preserved it in some fashion. And that's why I recommend this, because there are messages I got way back in 2014 that I didn't really understand. And it took a few years for the pieces to come together so that I could get that greater message and understand it and share it. And now that's, of course, being accelerated. You guys are all getting these things much faster, but recording it is really a wise thing to do. You are welcome, warrior girl. Betty, you're so welcome. I'm glad it makes sense. Let me get a drink here. Warrior girl, you had a walk-in after a near-death experience, and you feel it was a larger part of your soul. Generally, walk-ins, warrior girl, are when the soul that's in the body decides that it wants to go. It's ready to move on. And the body is still there. And maybe there's another soul hanging around that's looking for a convenient body because they've got some work to do and they don't want to wait to go through the birth process and to grow up to be able to accomplish their goals. So the walk-ins that I've met and learned about, that was always the case. There was just a convenient body. Maybe those two souls had past life connection and that's why they even knew about each other. That part, I don't have enough data to be able to say. It feels that way to me, but I could be wrong because, like I said, I just don't have the data. But yeah, so the body's available and this other soul comes in. So if I understand what you're saying, you're thinking that it was like part of your soul was here, part of your soul was there, and more of the soul came into the body. Anything's possible, but if it's, quote, a walk-in would be one soul replacing the other. So let me know if that makes sense. You're saying soul consciousness. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think, I mean, there could be some other condition that's not called a walk-in, because walk-in literally means another soul walks in, because the first soul, the original soul, walked out, leaving that space. Warrior girl, you got to go. Wishing us a blessed week. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Luis, the vaccine is causing further divide in humanity. Yeah, it is. It really is. It's sad. But Luis, on the other hand, what Metatron has been teaching me for quite a few years now is that this cosmic wave of transformation is very necessary for us to evolve into Earthtopia. So what's happening is that the divide is, it's just part of the process. Those who are choosing not to evolve, to awaken and to come along with us in the great shift, they're going to fall away. And the virus is the cosmic wave of transformation. It's just a convenient means for a large volume of souls to exit easily in this time frame as they need to go. So from that perspective, there's nothing really bad about it. It's just the way the souls are getting out. Because, you know, when your soul is ready to go, it will find a way to exit. So This one's fast, easy, and convenient, right? Not the way you and I might choose to exit, but it works for that soul. And we don't want to get into a position of judging another soul's choices, because we are all sovereign souls with free choice. We decide how our life is going to play out, what choices we're going to make. So from the divine creator perspective, no choice is wrong. It's your choice. You're entitled to make it. Even if the rest of us think it's wrong, it's your choice. So when we look at people who we might feel are doing evil in the world and judge them as being evil, divine is like, no, they are my divine, perfect creation. They're just making a different choice than you are. They're going to have consequences for that choice. They will learn from that choice. So it's like, if you think about, we have in society, let's say we had a group of people who were like Paleolithic mentality, right? They hadn't evolved yet. They were primitive. And alongside them, we had like modern day people, right? Big juxtaposition there. And it's what the cave people, the Paleolithics, are doing as the best choices for them would be anathema to us, but it's not for them because that's the level they've evolved to. So if we can step back, stop judging, just allow other souls to make their choices. Our business is making the best choices for ourselves, right? And if we get pulled into making those judgmental choices, there is karma for that. So I'm trying really hard right now as I'm, ascending here, whenever those thoughts come up, to, as soon as I notice them, quickly replace them and apologize, put something positive in there. Because the higher you go on the vibrational frequency scale, the quicker karma happens. I don't want that karma. I want the positive karma because I've got a lot of work to do. So that was a really long-winded answer, Louise. Let me know if it makes sense. Endowments, you meant, can one soul have you as the human being and other human beings, younger or older, living on Earth simultaneously? Well, again, that gets into that time, weebly wobbly, timey-wimey thing, as Dr. Who says. Theoretically, sure, because all time is existing at the same time. But here in our third dimension, no, you're in one body at a time. So I guess that's the definitive marker. It's, what we're experiencing here in the third dimension, but that's different from what we're experiencing in the fourth and fifth dimension and higher. So to make yourself not crazy, I think it's probably best to think of it in terms of third dimensional. And in that case, no, it's one body for one soul. So hopefully that helps, Stallman's. Louis said you read that too. Yeah. The twin flames are a soul incarnated in two bodies. I know people say that, Louise, but that's not been my experience. That's a whole story that doesn't resonate with what I've been taught. Each soul is an individual soul. And the whole thing about twin flames, if you go back and you think about it, here's where I stand on it. If you believe in the whole twin flame concept, that means there's one person in all of the world that you are to connect with. And what are the odds in a lifetime that you're going to connect with that person? Pretty great. Plus, you've had probably thousands of lifetimes. In those thousands of lifetimes, you've connected with a lot of souls. You've created karma with a lot of souls. You might want to have another lifetime with some of those souls to resolve that karma, or you might want to meet brand new ones. Get out of the rut and stop hanging out with that same crowd and meet some new people and bring them into your energy circle and start creating karma with them. So if you limit yourself, and to me, that's limiting twin flame. If you limit yourself to that one twin flame, how many people are actually going to meet them and have a happy life? So why would you choose that? That's what it comes down to for me. Now, saying that, Louise, if you believe in twin flames and that's important to you, then it's okay. You run with that and you live with that, and it's okay. There's no judgment from anybody else about that. It's your choice. But since you asked me the question, I'm just sharing my perspective in it. So for everybody that's here, take it with a grain of salt. This is what I have learned through my experience and my choices, but your experience might be different. So always be open, always ask questions, because there's always greater truths to be learned. So Christina, you're welcome. You see yourself different. It depends on who you interact with. Your image changes to soothe the being that you encounter. And in real life, they recognize your energy but can't place it. I'm not sure I understand that, Christina. Can you elaborate a little bit? Because I'm not quite following you there. Louise, who is behind crop circles and what is their purpose? Okay, let's just ask about that. So crop circles and the purpose, what can you tell us about them? Well, first they're laughing, Louise, because some of them are just, totally hoaxes that are done on the third dimensional level just to play with people. But some of them are done by some of these starseed groups that I talked about earlier, and they're sending messages. So for those who are aware of and learned in such things, they can receive that message. And the message, oh, this is a new one that just popped in. The message isn't solely for the people on Earth. It's also a way they're communicating with each other. That's really cool. Thanks for asking that, Louise, because that's not something I knew before. So very interesting. Apparently they have multiple purposes, and they're a form of communication. So think of it like Morse code or the telegraph, I guess. It's just another language that they're using to connect with each other. Yoko says the ISS astronauts are able to wear cloth fiber suits with creases in a spatial vacuum that boils water, and it's 454 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, Yoko, I don't know what you're talking about, but we're talking about Akashic Records. We're not talking about witches and all that stuff. So you might want to have a conversation with another group of people who are into that kind of thing, and that's fine. So Betty, are there times where meditations can be idle, or is it something that you're doing wrong? You tend to see scary faces, not sure what that's about, and you tell them to go away. Okay, so yeah, Betty, in the book, there were times on meditations where I came in like the whole 15 minutes, I got nothing. And Metatron would explain, it's about you showing up and making the commitment. You don't always have to get something. And then sometimes it's about what's trying to come through, you're not sure about, or you're a little afraid about, and so you're blocking it, or you might project a scary face onto it. So just know that when you're connected to the Akashic Records, you are in truth, love, and light. There's no darkness there. There's no dishonesty or corruption. You are protected. So you don't have to be afraid of anything that comes to you in the Akashic Records. So that just may be that you didn't understand that. Knowing that now, maybe you won't get scary faces. But if you do get them, say to them, listen, I don't appreciate those scary faces. Could you show me something else? They will accommodate you. They're very accommodating. So anything that you need, ask. They will help you. So Rebecca, to Betty, you see scary dark entities and energies. You don't know what to do, but you ask for light and love to protect you. You think that's enough. But why do you attract them? Yeah, it could just be your energy, Rebecca. And we talked about creating that energy bubble around you in the group, and I posted a meditation for you. So let me know if you need more in that line. But yeah, just set your intention that they will not bother you, because I don't have an issue with those things. They don't bother me. I'm not looking for them. I'm not expecting them. My intention is to be always connected to my divine team and to the records. So try that and just see if you get a change, because I think that you will. Remember, again, you're a sovereign soul, so you do not have to allow those beings into your presence. They don't need to be part of your reality. You just send them away. Let them go play with somebody who wants to play with them, like that person who posted above. Endowments, it makes sense. Thank you. You're so welcome. Christina, you have a different understanding of a twin flame, and it's to help further your ascension and change. Doesn't have to be romantic. They're a mirror image. Yeah, I've heard people say that, Christina. I've not gotten anything from the records to validate that, because we are all made individually as souls to have our own journey. So it wouldn't make sense to be connected to another in that way. But again, that's my opinion based on my experience. So yours is different, and that's perfectly fine for you. Louise, Rebecca says her idea for a question was crop circles. Yeah, there's a lot of similar thoughts and things going around here. So it's perfectly understandable some of the same questions would pop up. Hey, you guys, we got 16 people watching, and we got 15 thumbs up, which is fabulous. I don't know who the people are with the thumbs down. Why are they here if they don't like to hear this information? That I never understood that. There's so much out there, you guys, that you can tap into that resonates with you. So why would you want to waste your time on something that you don't like? Maybe somebody can explain that to me, because I don't get it. Betty says, thank you, Rebecca. It's nice to know she's not alone. Awesome. Christina, you've done astral healings on people who don't know you. You've walked into the dreams of others. Oh, okay, cool. Thanks for explaining that. So, yeah, Christina, there are some souls who have a specialty called Dream Master. These souls can enter the dreams of other people. And if they can do that, then presumably they could also do healing in the dreams. It's quite possible that you have that as your soul specialty. It's not very common. They don't show up often in my work. But when people come for readings, that's, when we do a soul introduction, we look at the aspects of the soul, and one of the things is the soul specialty. So that's one category. And yeah, if you can do that, that's awesome. Do you ever encounter reluctance on their part to receive it? Because I'm thinking you wouldn't just be walking into random people's dreams. So are these people that you are karmically connected to, or are there people that you are third dimensionally connected to? Do you even know these people who you are in their dreams? So I'm asking you questions, Christina. If you can let us know, that would be really cool. Yeah, lots of synchronicity. And Louise says that, Rebecca, maybe you're part of the same starseed family and they're sending messages. Quite possible. Absolutely. You're welcome, Betty. So you guys, I'm at the end of the questions. Any more questions? Pop them in that chat. And, I was planning to be here until, I don't know, like 8:30 or so. So keep the questions coming. Louise, since you're here, did you get the 21-day meditation book and do that on your own, Louise? Because I know you're not in the Facebook group. And while I'm waiting for more questions, let me just talk about that in case there are people here who don't know what the heck I'm talking about. So in January, or no, it was in December. In December, Metatron gave me this assignment to do 21 days of meditation, 15 minutes a day. So, of course, I accepted and I did it. And it was this really amazing experience because, I went into it thinking, no big deal. I meditate pretty regularly. It won't be any problem. It was a problem. First of all, there were days that I just couldn't make it happen because I had other things going on. And so it took more than 21 days, and that was okay. It was just get it done. And then there were times when I would show up and I would get nothing. I would sit there and it's like, okay, anybody there? What's going on? And so I would just type out my thoughts that were happening while I was waiting. Because for me, when I go into a meditation, if I'm not getting anything, I've got my hands on the keyboard the whole time. I'm typing everything I get, because once it starts coming, it comes fast. So I decided, I'll just type the thoughts that are popping through my head, and maybe that will get the energy moving so that I can actually receive whatever it is they're trying to say. And it did seem to work that way most of the time. But there were some sessions where I got nothing. And at the end, I got the message that this is about you showing up, making a commitment, and following through. That's what we're doing here. It's okay that you didn't get a message on this day. And that was the message. So I wrote all that down. And when I was done, I realized that, oh my gosh, this needs to be a book so I can share it with other people, because it was so transformative, so profound. It stretched me in ways that I didn't know was going to happen. The whole thing just, I don't know, it was way bigger than I ever imagined it would be from a simple assignment. So I did put it into a book and was getting ready to publish it, and had planned to do it like the beginning of August. And then Metatron came in and kicked me in the butt and said, no, you need to do the challenge now before you publish the book. It needs to be done now. It's like, okay, am I going to argue with Metatron? No. So I put together a Facebook group. I put up a video, sent messages out on social media and to my mailing list and said, hey, here's the PDF of the book. You can read the book and then join us in the group if you want to share your experiences. We're going to do this 21-day meditation together. So I think about 66 people are in the Facebook group, and there's over 100 people in the mailing list group who said, yes, I want the book. I want to be part of this. So, we've got a nice little group there together that did this exercise. And I only know the experience from the people in the Facebook group, but they've been posting their experiences with their meditation each day, what they're seeing, feeling, some of the messages, the questions that they have. And when I started it, I really didn't know exactly how it was going to unfold, because this was Metatron's idea. I really wasn't on board with it. I'm like, I got other things to do, not part of my plan right now. It's going to interfere with my plan, as a matter of fact, but it was like, no, it needs to be now. So as the group started and people had questions, how is this going to work? What are we doing? I got that every day I needed to channel a message from Metatron for that day's meditation. So it's like, oh, thanks. I needed one more big task to do. So every day, or actually every night, and it ended up being in the wee hours of the morning, I'm channeling the message for the next day. So there are 21 messages daily from Metatron. Some are, around 400 words. Some are over 1,000 words. It just depended on what was meant to be shared that day. And it was fascinating to watch what happened as the people got the messages, incorporated that information along with what they'd already read in the book, and then did their meditation. So we had people showing up who had not successfully meditated before. Some people who had meditated but hadn't had these kind of experiences. Some people who started all of a sudden peeling away layers of crud and having healing transformations and healing. I mean, it's been a phenomenal experience. I didn't know that was going to happen. I was just doing what Metatron asked me to do. And now I have to figure out how to incorporate all this into the book, and get it published as soon as possible. So that's the next part that's coming. So we just finished that yesterday. And that's the other amazing thing. If you were here earlier, I said, when Metatron said do this, I didn't look ahead and see when we were going to end. And then like a week ago, I looked out at the days to see when are we ending so that I can plan what's next. And it's like, holy cow, we are ending this thing. Day 21 is Lionsgate, August the 8th. That is not a coincidence or an accident. That was planned by Metatron, but I didn't see it coming because, I'm just moment by moment. I'm trying to stay in the present and do what I'm led to do. But Metatron had it all planned. There was a reason for that. And probably that Lionsgate energy helped the people in the group who were struggling with their first time meditating or, having blocks to have those transformations. So the whole thing is miraculous to me. It's just been astonishing. And I have such gratitude for everybody who showed up, shared their stories, and stayed with us. And we still have people who are behind, who are catching up, and they will. Then when this book publishes, there will be a link in the book for anybody who gets it to join that same Facebook group. That group will stay there. People can keep joining. They can do the challenge. They can post their experiences. They can read all of the older posts to see what happened before them if they want to. So it's a body of work, wisdom, knowledge, inspiration that we've created together. The energy is just amazing. So if you haven't already joined that group, you should. And if you don't have the link, just let me know. I'll send it to you. But yeah, so that's what's been going on. And then to add on to all of this, I had this live stream planned before the challenge because I'm doing a monthly live stream in addition to my monthly Zoom. This is something I've been doing a couple of months now, 3 months, I guess. And so it's like, wow, dominoes falling, anybody? Everything lined up in just this divine perfection that I couldn't have seen or planned because frankly, I'm just too busy and, as I said, focused in the moment to even look that far ahead and make those kind of plans. So I'm just in awe of how it all came together. And as I said, extremely grateful for all of you who were with me and made it such an amazing experience. And what's to come after this? I don't know. I do know that it's going to facilitate what we're doing, helping all of the light workers to come forward, to step out of their fear, to embody their power, to get on board sooner so that we can move forward towards Earthtopia, because we know it kind of sucks where we're at right now. So let's get this thing moving. And we need more people to get on board and help us. Metatron has said we need to reach critical mass of light workers who are on board of this project in order to facilitate our transformation, our ascension to Earthtopia. So that's what's coming, and you are all part of it, however that looks for you. So whatever you feel led to do, what part you want to have in this, step up, put your whole heart and soul into it and do it. And I can promise you, it will be the most rewarding thing that you have done. It will be marvelous. It will be magical. Your life will be profoundly changed. And that's what we're doing together. So thank you for being here tonight so we could talk about this. All right, let me pop back over. I see a few more questions now. Oh, so Christina, some of the people that you have heard of that need healing. So Christina, is it like you hear a story about Jack who needs healing and you consciously astral project into Jack's dream? Is it like that? Or do you get drawn into energetically into somebody's dream who needs you? Let us know. This is really cool. Thanks for sharing this. Dalmans, you think people who give thumbs down are not awakened, and when they hear words like angel, starseed, or others, they think it's a silly twist? Yeah, probably. And, you know, like that person who was on earlier talking about all kinds of negative stuff. And I think some people are afraid of it because they don't understand it, and that's okay. But, you know, it's okay because, you know, with the algorithm on YouTube, thumbs downs count too as a positive because it counts for somebody else who watched your video. So little do they know, when they do a thumbs down, they're actually helping just as much as they gave a thumbs up. If they don't want to help, they wouldn't do anything, right? Okay, so Louise, you signed up, but you totally procrastinated and you've been doing it on and off. So Louise, that's okay. You know, that's the journey you're on. Don't judge yourself. You know, we had people who would post their daily post about what they experienced. And I noticed a trend, and I wanted to mention this. So this is a great opportunity. Thank you, Louise. They would show up and they would kind of apologize. Well, I meant to do such and such, and that didn't happen. So this is what happened. No, don't put that negative slant on the story. Celebrate that you did it, whether you did it every day or you did it every other day or you spread it out over 3 months. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you do this because it's for you. This whole process is about your expansion. It's for you. So don't judge yourself, because what that'll do is that'll cause the separation and you'll be less likely to follow through. So instead, celebrate what you have done. Really love and celebrate you, your amazing, magnificent self, for doing what you have done. And the next time you do it, celebrate that. Because if you shift into that energy of celebrating, you're going to be more likely to meditate, right? If it's a positive experience. If you come to it judging yourself, it's not going to feel good. You're going to find more excuses not to show up. So just let all that judgment go. It's about love, acceptance, and flow, Louise. That's what it's about. So give yourself that gift because you deserve it. And you will just be amazed at what happens. So if you can, I don't know if you can get into the Facebook group or not, but if you can, pop in there, read other people's posts, let that inspire you, share whatever's going on in your head. It will help you. And even if you're feeling like it's just not working for me, tell us that, because we can help you to see perhaps where the blocks are and what you can do. You know, like this whole thing I shared with you earlier about if I'm sitting there and I'm getting nothing, then I just start typing whatever thoughts are buzzing through my head, because that gets the energy flowing. And that's crucial to this whole process. So when you move into that flow of energy, you loosen up and you allow the messages to come through. So it's a great technique, and it's not something I ever thought about as a technique before until we got into this and people were struggling, and it's like, oh, we'll try this and see if it works. And it seems to have helped them. So, you know, we all find our ways of making it work, and sharing those creative ideas will help, because somebody else might have other ideas about how to make it work for them that could be really valuable to help others in the group. So this is really sharing and caring at the highest level. It's quite beautiful. Dalmans, you'd like to hear about karma, doing things, good things or bad. If you're vibrating higher, it works faster. Yeah, so the deal about it, it's every action has a consequence. That's karma. Karma is the consequence. So your thoughts, your actions, your beingness, whatever you're putting out is going to come back to you, whether it's positive or negative. The universe isn't judging that. It's just giving you back what you put out. So if you walk around in a state of, oh, I hate that person, look at them, they're so negative, guess what's going to come back to you? In some format, you're going to get that negative energy back. It's going to set you back. So you don't want to do that. And even the most heinous person, like you guys know, I am not a Trump fan. It's really a struggle for me to let that go and try and find a positive thing about this person. And the positive thing I can find is that this is a perfect divine soul. That's enough. That's all I have to do to let go of all the other stuff. And that will protect me from getting negative blowback about that, right? So it's just action, reaction. It's that simple. It's like a boomerang. You throw a boomerang, it comes back to you. It's not a judgment. It's just the consequences of the action. So that's why you may want to try as much as you can with your thoughts, with your action, to be positive, because you want positive to come back to you. Now, the whole thing about the higher vibration. So when you were at a lower vibration, let's say that you were at the low end of the 5 scale, because like most of humanity right now is between 5.0 and 6.0, and they're moving up towards 6.0, which is that 5th and 6th dimensional thing that Metatron talked about in the video that I posted on Saturday. So if you haven't seen Saturday's video, go watch that, because Metatron explained some of that. So when you're in that lower 5 range, you make choices, you get consequences. But the difference is, because your frequency was lower, it's like you're driving a car on a really wide road. And so you can drive that car, and as long as you stay in the road, which is very wide, you get positive karma, right? So you've got a more, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. There's just more leeway, right? But as your vibrational frequency rises and you get into the higher 5s, now the road is narrower. So when you get out of bounds, you get into negative karma. You want to stay in bounds. So the higher you go on the vibrational frequency, the more responsibility you have as a soul to stay within those lines. And that's probably not the best metaphor, because I'm always talking to you about not being limited by lines and boxes and things, but it's the only one I'm coming up with right now that kind of describes the responsibility that comes with the higher vibrations. So just know that when you were at the lower vibration, it would take longer before you got a consequence. When you're at the higher vibration, sometimes they happen at the speed of thought. I mean, you can put something out there and bam, you get it right back almost instantly. So that's what we're moving into. And you can bet when you get into 6th dimensional awareness, oh baby, you better have conquered this thing and really be on your path and staying in the positive, the love, and the light, because it will just so quickly come back, right? Higher frequency, higher responsibility. So I hope that makes sense, Dolmans. Let me know. Christina, you do the same with energy healings. The book is in front of you. Oh, just jumped. Hang on. You start reading, you walk through a door, and you end up somewhere else. Okay, so now let me read the second part. So for the physical healings, it's not necessarily a connection. You ask their permission in their dreams, and then you do as you're guided. So it's like in your dream, you're seeing a book, and it's for somebody. So it's almost like your guides are bringing you the book of some individual you may or may not know, and then you go and you do the healing. Let me know if that's what you're talking about. That's what I think I read. That's really interesting. So if it's coming from your guides, then that would mean the other person is open to it, because I don't think your guides would bring you somebody that's not open to it. So that's fascinating. So if it were me, I'd be asking the question, why this person? Is there a connection? Maybe I have a past life connection with this person, because why you? And maybe why you, just because you were the next one in line to get the assignment. Who knows? But it would be really cool to ask that question and get more information. So Janny, you're saying, oh, the meditation, it was powerful and a huge growing experience as a newbie to the psychic realm in meditation. I'm so glad. Yeah. So Janny, tell us, because you were new, and it must have been a little intimidating and scary, what was it that drew you in and caused you to make the commitment? Because it was a big commitment. You were there every day. You were working your heart out, putting so much effort in and getting amazing things back. But what caused you to take that leap of faith? Because I think that would be really helpful for people to understand, if you wouldn't mind sharing that with us. Betty, you're glad to have participated. You enjoyed it and you learned so much. Yeah, I'm same for you, Betty. I mean, you were such a wonderful participant. You were there commenting on other people's posts, supporting them, sharing your own story, and it was marvelous. And you guys can attest that some days you got, very little in your meditation experience. And then other days it would like be, quite a long post, so much more happening. So there's ebb and flow in this process, just as there is in everything else in life. So it's not like you're going to show up every day and get a massive download. And if you think about it, that makes a lot of sense, because if you get too much, you're going to get overwhelmed, you're going to get fatigued, and then you won't have as much to give. So I think they're feeding it to us as we're ready for it. And it will continue that way. Hey, Sherry, thanks for being here. I'm so delighted to have you. You'd like the link to the meditation? You got it. Hang on, let me grab it for you. Be right back. Sherry, you guys, because you won't know, she's one of my friends from a horse group. We have known each other. Oh my gosh, Sherry. It must be 25 years. Online, never met. It's so amazing. Just sharing the love of horses. And Sherry had this ancient horse who was still going way into his late years. And it was just such a delight to watch their connection and the love that they had for each other and the journey that they went on for as long as she had him. It was just wonderful. So Sherry, we would love to have you. Okay, I just about got the link. Hang on. Okay, here we go. So did it show up? Yeah, it should be there. So just use that link. When you enter your email and your name, you will get an email from me. So if you don't get an email from me fairly quickly, check your spam box or promotions or whatever, that stuff goes into. But you'll also immediately be taken to a page to download the 21-day meditation book. This book, for everybody, it's in pre-launch, you guys. It's not 100% finished, because I couldn't finish it till we did the challenge, but I didn't know that until we did the challenge, and Metatron taught me that. So it's kind of a funny story. But anyway, it's mostly done, but there's going to be more now. And you guys, as long as I got you here, can I ask your opinion? I'm trying to decide the 21 days of messages from Metatron during the meditation. Does that need to go into a separate workbook? So you have the message from Metatron and then you have lines to write your meditation in? Would that be helpful? Or would it be better to include it in the original book? That's the big dilemma that I've got to figure out as I go through. So I would love your input on that. And then the rest of it, share, if you want to join us in the Facebook group, there's a link to that in the email that you get from me so that you can come in and share your experiences and get the support. And the support is so important because some days you can feel like you're just screwing it all up and you don't know what you're doing and just lost. But when you've got this supportive group, and these people are amazing, there's so much love being shared in this group that it really will help you. I think you'll appreciate it if you can join us. And if you can't, just keep us posted. You can email me and let me know how you're doing. Nina, it's dinner time. You got to go. Well, thank you for being here. I'm so glad that you could come. And Horst and Angie, can we keep our vibration high by being thankful and grateful, feeling the sacred fire in our hearts? You're so grateful for the messages. Yeah, that's a huge part of it. Gratitude, appreciation. When you look around every day and you find things to be happy and grateful for, to appreciate, even if it's just that you're breathing, that the sun is shining, if it is, the littlest things, on those days when you wake up and you feel really challenged or really blue or whatever, find some tiny little thing to be thankful for. Let that energy expand in your heart chakra, and suddenly you'll find more to be grateful for. And the more you make this your way of being, the less often you will have those days and the quicker you will get out of them. And then, of course, you can reach out to us and ask for support, because as light workers, that's what we're doing. We're lifting each other up, helping each other through those challenging times, because we all need to join arms, link our arms and come together to facilitate this big shift and the great awakening. So yeah, absolutely. More love, appreciation, and gratitude. And you know what happens? Part of this, Angie, huge part of it, is love of self. When you understand that you are a perfect divine soul, just like every other soul, how can you not love yourself? If your creator says to you, my beautiful child, you are perfect, magnificent, brilliant, and resplendent. God says that to you. How can you judge yourself as being lacking? And that's part of the journey, learning to love yourself deeply. When you do that, you will be filled to overflowing with this divine love that will emanate from you to the world. And then even those challenging people like Mr. 45, it's a little bit easier to accept them because there's just so much love pouring forth from you. That's what we're moving into. So when more of us get to that place where we see all of these other beings as souls, as sovereign souls, just like we are, doesn't matter what skin suit they're wearing, they're souls. When we can do that, the world will shift rapidly. So again, we're just moving towards critical mass. So let me know if that makes sense, Angie. And Jenny's agreeing with you. Christina, it works both ways. You consciously project or you're sent. You do what you're being led to do. If it's healing, comfort, help with nightmares, processing, understanding, you're there to serve. That's so beautiful, Christina. You have to be a dream master. That would be the only thing that explains that. And thank you for explaining that to us, because, I don't think I've had anybody come for a reading who is a dream master to get their feedback to learn more about it. So I know, the book learning part of what I got about dream masters, but I don't have personal experience with it. So more data is always good to help everybody to expand and learn. And I have no idea how many dream masters there are out there. So thank you for inspiring that, because I think I'm going to add that to my list of things to research, because it's important. I think it would be good to learn more about it. Thank you for all the hearts. Dalman says, recently you shifted your perception to there's no good or bad, there's just experience. It allows you to accept all that's happening with you and in the world. Yeah, that's beautiful, Dalman. It's a beautiful way to be because you are in the flow, as Metatron is asking us to be, in the flow. That's what 2021 is about, becoming experts at being in the flow. And when you do that, you're going to manifest faster and easier. Your life is going to be more joyous. You will feel more love. And it's just less static and more flow. And that's amazing. So yeah, I'm delighted to hear that for you. And you've got so much wisdom and insight to share. So however you feel led to do that, please do, because there's just so much that's maturing in you right now and that's wanting to come forth. It's just marvelous to behold. So I'm excited to see what you're going to birth into the world, Dalmans. And so you did understand about the karma and vibrations. Great. Awesome. Christina says, yes, it can happen in your dreams or in meditation. Your guides bring you the assignment. The person might have an impact on somebody else's soul growth, and you're sent there. Yeah, that is so beautiful. Thank you for being that emissary, the dream emissary, Christina, because that's a beautiful service. And yeah, it has to have an impact, a positive impact on people, because they're struggling with these things. And you might be bringing them that very key that they needed to move forward. So Rebecca, it's getting late in France. You got to sleep. You're so welcome. Thanks for being here. We really appreciate it. Endowments, you can't remember your other questions. You write it down for next time. Late there in the UK. Okay, understand. Okay. Thank you for being here. Hey, Melinda. So glad you could join us. You know, I went looking for your new YouTube channel and I could not find it. So maybe you can send me that link because I was looking for it. I wanted to support you. Melinda is starting a new YouTube channel for tarot. Janny, you've been exploring psychics on YouTube for about a year and you do a lot of spiritual searching. Oh, cool. Well, I'm so glad. And you know, that makes a lot of sense that you guys would be attracted to that given his near-death experience. I think you said it was a near-death experience, or at least it felt like it. You went through an awful lot and that is soul expanding. So I can imagine that brought up a lot of questions for you. And I feel honored that you came to my site and joined the challenge because you brought so much to it. And we are so appreciative. Oh, and Sherry saying that time was 34. Yeah. He was an amazing guy. I still remember his picture. He was beauty. And he brought so much to your life. And he blessed a lot of other people just by hearing the stories. That was what was amazing. So, and that's a wonderful example, you guys, of that's why we're out here sharing these things, because you just never know what you share with one person might end up blessing a whole community of people. And I know there were so many people that were touched by Sherry's stories about her horse because it was meaningful to all of us who were there because we loved horses. Janny, you understand your place in the world. You've meditated, but never with this intention. Yeah. You know, and that's important, Janny, because the work that we're doing, intention is everything. You set your intention about what you want to accomplish. And that's where the energy goes, towards your intention. That's a big part of manifesting. So it's super, super important. And that's awesome that you're connecting those dots, and more will be connected. Oh, and you were on Sheila's channel. Okay. Yeah, cool. So for those of you who don't know, that's Celtic Tarot Sheila. If you are not subscribed to her channel, you should be. She's amazing. I adore her. And she invited me onto her YouTube show with the Oracle of Whimsy. And we did some readings and hung out and just had a really great time. And so many beautiful people who were on that live and then who watched it later came over and either subscribed or hung around and learned more about the Akashic Records. And do you know, so many people went and bought my book as a result of that, that you pushed me back up to bestseller after 3 years, which was a miracle in itself. So I'm just so grateful for that connection. And that was divinely orchestrated because I didn't go looking for that. I was enjoying Sheila's channel and I was commenting and letting her know I appreciated her work. And she just connected with me and said, "Hey, you want to come on my show?" So it just all is flow and ease, right? So beautiful. And that led to my channel growing, which means the message gets out to more people. And this new book coming out. And then in what was it, April, I did that 7-hour live stream fundraiser for the women's shelter. And I couldn't have done that if all of you people hadn't come, thanks to Sheila, and had such an impact. So it was just blessings abound. It's really a marvelous time that we're living in with so much magic and miracles. And Betty, you like the workbook idea. Okay, cool. Thank you. Janny, maybe incorporate the channeled messages in the original book. Yeah. Yeah, it could go either way. And well, I'll probably ask Metatron for the definitive answer, but it would be good to get your input as well because you were a part of it and you experienced it. So your perception on it is really important. Melinda, you haven't done it. You just heard the lines in the back of the book. Okay, I'm not sure what you mean by that, Melinda, so maybe you can clarify. Beverly, you love the channel and you're saying thanks for putting out the messages. You are so welcome. This is my mission, Beverly. I've been called to do this. And I'm so grateful for you guys showing up because sometimes it's a lot of responsibility. And it's like, guys, I'm doing this as fast as I can, but you got to help me here. You've got to bring more people because, I'm putting out the messages, I'm writing, I'm doing what I can, but I need some help because the algorithm has not been friendly. So it's like they're not showing it to enough people who I know would love the messages if it got to them. And that's what you guys are all doing by sharing it with people. And oh my gosh, it says I've been signed out. I don't know what that means. Okay. Hang on, you guys. I think I'm going to have to, I don't know what that means. All right, well, you know what? We're just going to have this ugly background because my virtual one went away. Zoom died on me. And I don't know if we're still there with you or not. Okay. All right, cool. All right, so we're at 8:30, so I'm going to end it quickly because I really don't like these backgrounds. I like my magical backgrounds because it goes with the feeling of what I'm trying to do here. So let's see, what else do you have here? The message about love resonates for Angie. Awesome. Christina, whoops, it just jumped. Where did it go? 21-day meditation heightens your ability and opens you up to help others in real life. Oh, that is so beautiful. So glad to hear that, Christina, because it's an important mission that you have. And Luis, near-death experiences contracted before we incarnate. No, I don't believe so, Luis, because you don't need a near-death experience to help you awaken. It can happen in so many ways. And I think that it's part of what's going on with your soul at the time. Remember, your soul exits the body when it's ready. So things can happen. Maybe you kind of are toying with the idea of being ready and you attract a near-death experience and then change your mind. There's a lot of factors there. So I don't think we can say definitively, but what I'm feeling is it's not something you plan ahead of time. The exits you plan ahead of time. They're opportunities, and then you can choose at the time whether you want to follow through or not. Okay, Melinda, you're having a hiccup. Oh, so the site's not live yet. Okay, well, I'll keep looking for it. Just let me know when it's ready. Travels, you say it's like the movie The Wonderful Life. It feels like that sometimes, which is such a blessing. It's amazing. Jenny, you bought my book after that. Oh, thank you. Bless you. Share it with people because it was the channeled book. I shared some of my own experiences, but it was divinely inspired for the whole purpose of teaching people about the Akashic Records because it's so important. You've got this user manual and you didn't know about it unless somebody told you. I didn't know about it until I stumbled upon it. So that's a big part of this is sharing that with the world and, letting them know about it. It needs to get out there to more. MK Karen, hi. Hello. Thanks for being here. Terry, hello. Thanks for coming. Betty, you remember mentioning, I talked about Hind's Feet on High Places on Sheila's channel. Yeah, that was an amazing book that inspired me because I felt like I was that character in that book who was named Much Afraid and was traveling on a soul journey to the high places with her friends. And I was her. I was so scared. In fact, I remember one time when I was in my early 20s, I heard this voice say, "You're always hiding." And I didn't have a clue what that was about. I wasn't tuned in back then. So it's amazing I even heard it. But years later, I understood what they meant because I was scared of everything. But then when I started having those past life memories, when my guide slowly started feeding me those past life experiences, it's like, holy cow, no wonder I was afraid. I got killed on a stool, those dunking stools as a witch, and probably several other times killed for various reasons, because when we lived our lives as expressing ourselves as light workers, we were often killed or tortured. And there were lifetimes where I was like the healer for the village, and then they decided they no longer believed in it and they shoved me into exile to live with a goat. So there were a lot of things to be afraid of from past lives, and for most light workers that's true. So we have to get past all of that in order to stand in the power of who we are as souls. And then the other thing, through all of this work, they've helped me to understand we don't have to be afraid of death. We have done it thousands of times. We should be experts at it, right? When our soul's ready to go, it's going to go. The only real thing about it is how painful will it be until you die? Really? And I can tell you because they've shown me these past lives and some of them, the death moment, I didn't feel anything. The story I told in my book about where my husband ran me down with his car. I'm standing there in the street. It's dark. He's in this jalopy coming towards me. I'm frozen like a deer in the headlights, and I know I'm going to die. I feel it. And then nothingness, I'm gone. I was pulled out of my body. I didn't have to feel the impact. And because they showed that to me, I kind of feel like that happens more often than not. So where the real problem is if you live and you're messed up and you got to go through all the healing and the pain of that. So death is not really all that scary. When you know your soul will go when it's ready, okay, so that's all good, right? Nothing to worry about there. And there's a very good chance you're not going to experience a lot of trauma and pain because your team is going to pull you out. Then the only real thing that's left is the people you leave behind. And you can't do anything about that. I mean, you can come back as the spirit and you can comfort them if they're open to that, but they're sovereign souls too, and they get to decide what they do. But understanding this about death is so liberating, because then when somebody does die, you don't have to get so caught up in all that grief and pulled off of your soul journey, because that is not what they want for you. They want you to keep having your journey. And plus, you guys, because you're learning to connect in the records, when you go into the records, you can call forth your loved ones who you miss. You can talk to them. You can touch them. You can have that experience. People were spontaneously doing that through the meditation challenge, which was phenomenal. I had no idea that might happen. But yeah, if I miss somebody, I just connect with them in the Akasha and have a conversation, find out what they're up to. But now that I understand this, I don't really feel the need to, very often anyway. So it changes your whole perception about death. A while back, I made a video about death being the taboo subject, which we need to get over for our own expansion and understanding, because it doesn't serve us to get caught up in all these things that we think we're supposed to feel and do when somebody dies. It's all nonsense. We can celebrate that they've ended this journey. they've gone to the fifth dimension. They're back in soul school and connecting with people that they lost until they decide to incarnate again. They're great. It's just about us missing them. And when we realize we don't have to miss them because we can connect in the Akashic Records, what's to grieve about? You know, it really, really can help so much. So that's okay. That's a tangent. I'm sorry. I just had to go off on that. Anyway, so as Betty, you reminded me of all of that. See what you started, Betty, because I was talking about that book, Hind's Feet on High Places. And if you've never seen that book or are not familiar, it's kind of a takeoff on Pilgrim's Progress. It's an allegorical book. So, you know, it's lovely little stories. And, you know, it's funny. I found that book like in a airport gift shop. It was just not a coincidence, obviously. And I loved it so much. I bought a whole bunch of copies and gave them to everybody I loved because it was just an amazing book. But I totally resonated with Much Afraid. I don't anymore. I'm not afraid now because I'm walking hand in hand with Metatron. It's so phenomenal. I feel so loved, so protected because I'm here doing what my soul wants to do each and every day. You know, I'm living my purpose. And when you're in alignment with your purpose in that fashion, life is just bliss. This is soul nirvana. And that's what I'm wanting to share with all of you guys because every soul is seeking this out. It's the holy grail of your soul journey. And you all deserve that. So that's enough on that topic. All right. So let me get through these last few questions and then I'll let you guys go. Oh, thank you, Karen, for encouraging everybody to hit the like button. I really appreciate it. Melinda, input, a thought dropped into your head, the lines in the back of the book, like in school books. Oh, yeah. If I do the workbook, Melinda, I would do that. I would like have, here's the written message for day one, and then here's a bunch of lines so that you can write in your experience. I just don't know, in these days of everything being digital, how many people are going to even want that? You know, I know a bunch of you guys, when I sent you the PDF of the book, you went and printed it because you wanted the hard copy. So there is that. You guys would probably appreciate the workbook, but a lot of people just do it all digital. So I don't know how helpful that would be to them. But the end authority will be Metatron because it's funny. You know, I do this all the time and I sometimes forget. It's like, oh, I want to go consult with somebody and ask them a question. Usually it's business related. And I'm thinking about the entrepreneurs who I love and respect, and I would ask their opinion. And I get ready to connect them, and it's like, oh, wait, why am I doing that? I can just ask Metatron or my guides, you know, that's the highest authority. So why do I have to go anywhere else? And it's just funny, you know, habit being on the third dimensional side of it that we sometimes forget. But it's also good to get third dimensional input. And that's why I'm asking you guys. And I appreciate everything you've shared. Oh, no worries about the background. Oh, thank you, Melinda. Yeah. Well, if I had known, I would have cleaned it up a little bit, but I was counting on my virtual background. So I have another computer that's logged into Zoom apparently, and I got this message popped up and said you can't do that, which, okay, I'll make sure the other computer's logged out next time because I do love my virtual backgrounds. It just adds a lot to the conversation. And if you don't know, I always select a virtual background that in some way evokes the energy of what I want the call to be about. So that's why you see all these different colors and shapes and, you know, different iterations of backgrounds because they're all meaningful. So like the one I did when I shared the story about Putin and Trump and their past life connection being Caesar and Brutus, I chose that background because it looked like fire to me. And when I first got that vision, I kept seeing Trump dressed in like the laurel wreath and the, you know, the robes like the Romans used to wear and fire. And so I'm saying, are you guys trying to tell me that Trump was Nero and he burned down Rome? I mean, what are you trying to tell me here? And then I got, no. Right time, but he was actually Brutus and Putin was Caesar, and they've got unfinished karma, and that's what's going on in this lifetime between them. So when I chose the background for that one, I wanted something that looked like fire. So that's the reason. Johnny, have you considered connecting to other spiritualists to grow your message? Yeah, if you've got some in mind, Johnny, let me know. be glad to connect with them. I did the show with Sheila, and we'll probably do something together again. She had me come on and teach a dowsing class for her private members, so I did that. The thing with Sheila's channel is I felt a little bit of a mismatch because I don't do tarot. So they're reading their cards to get the answers to the questions people are asking. And I'm dowsing or connecting with my team to get the same thing. And my timing is a little slower sometimes than theirs. And add to it, you guys, Whimsy's intimidating. I gotta tell you, that lady is so amazing. She's a little intimidating. So there was a little of that going on too. And I was getting my answers a little slow, which I felt a bit uncomfortable about. But that doesn't mean we won't do it again. We'll figure something out. And I am planning to do some things in the future that I'll let you know about. I'm not ready to talk about it yet, but yeah, I'm totally open to that and connecting in whatever ways works to help people get the message. That's what it's about. But, a lot of people who came over from Sheila's channel then subsequently left because I'm not doing political stuff. I occasionally will talk about it, but my work is really about expanding spiritually. That's what I'm led to do. So not all of the political stuff is going to be a good match anyway, and that's great. I love being a member of their tribes and watching their videos and commenting, and that's perfect too. But any ideas you have, shoot them at me. I'm totally open. Hi, Karen. Jana, you need to reread Hind's Feet. You read it 30 years ago. Oh, that's so awesome. So you know what I'm talking about with Much Afraid. Yeah, that book just blew me away because what a great name. It was so evocative of what she was going through and how I felt. It was the perfect book for me. Travels, they say the animals choose their departure. Well, they're souls as well. So I suppose that would be true of them. And I know because I've asked about it, they do know that we consume them and they're okay with that. They realize that's part of the journey, that it might be a short one, it might be a long one, somewhere in between. So it's not like, some people believe we shouldn't be consuming the animals, and that's not what I'm getting. They may be getting a different story, and that would be their truth. And so we all have to live with our truths. You got it as a gift from a friend, Betty. Oh, that's beautiful. So nice. And Jenny, you've got to run out of room with lines. Yeah, that's the other thing about doing the workbook. Will it be, how many lines do you give them for a day? And, then how long does it get? So I really have to think about that. Patricia, you had a near-death event 21 years ago and your life was changed. Talk about waking up. It's a wonderful experience. People should celebrate leaving this place. Love on the other side is fabulous. Yeah, it really is. It's whenever you connect with them on the other side, it's just so wonderful and so supportive. And I can imagine, when you have that experience and then coming back, it has to change your perspective. I tell people very often, if you are having trouble making choices in your life, then think about, what if you knew you're going to die in a week or a month? What would be the things that you would regret not doing? Those are your priorities. So if you ever have trouble figuring that out, put it in those life and death terms, because that's when it gets real. And I found that very helpful to really crystallize what's important and then focus on that. So for what that's worth. Betty, you're glad you don't. It gets old after a while. And now I'm not sure what you're talking about there, Betty. I'll have to go back through all the comments to find it later. Linda, you're tired of seeing political stuff. You're looking for more spiritual. Awesome. Then hang with us, Linda. Join the Facebook group. Let me give you that link again in case you didn't get it. That's for the 21-day meditation challenge. You get the PDF of the book that's in pre-release. It's not ready to come out just yet because we're still wrapping. And you get a link to join the Facebook group if you want to share, to be supportive, supported, and uplifted. So yeah, we'd love to have you. That's open for everybody. And Melinda, the lines in the back, a notebook to write. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so you guys, I think that's all the questions. And unless you got something else. Oh, political. Yeah. It does. And the thing that came to me out of that, Betty, I love watching those political channels. I'm a news junkie, always have been. But I kind of got pulled back a little by my team. It's like, you can't be so immersed in that negative energy and not attract it. And you can't as effectively do your work. So I've pulled back a lot. I mean, yeah, with the election, there was a lot of tension and we all wanted to know what was going on. I was dousing like crazy trying to find out what was going to happen. And, we needed some peace of mind. And so it did help to come together and to share that. And it certainly helped when a lot of psychics were getting the same answers. So that was important. But I know for myself, I went over the line. I went too far and it took me off course from doing what my soul wants to do. So now I'm really trying to be more mindful and I want to be, a responsible citizen. I want to know what's going on in the world. So there's a certain amount of it you need to know, but we don't need to get into the weeds. We can limit it and then focus on what's really important in our lives. So anyway, that's my opinion, you guys. So Luis, ever since you lost your niece, you've been scared of sudden death and what I've shared has helped. I'm so glad, Luis, because there really is nothing to fear. You've done it before. You know how to do it. It's not really a big deal when you think about it in those terms. And you're going to go when your soul says it's time. So at your higher perspective, it's all good. So the more you can get out of being Luis the ego and being Luis the soul, coming into oneness. Did you do the powwow with ego, higher self, and soul, Luis? Because that might help to bring you more into oneness. That's a big part of what we're all doing now is we're moving away from living as our egos to being that oneness with ourself and having that higher perspective. It brings you a lot more peace. And peace is huge these days. You're so welcome, Janny. Thanks for being here. Melinda, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. Betty, you agree? It's draining, Travel says, yeah, it really is. But, again, we need to know what's going on. Chavo, you can hear C418 Sweden. It's a music. I don't know what that means. Johnny, there are some interesting musicians like Nako or Trevor Hall who would like to talk. They have real love of Native American spirituality. Oh, that's beautiful. I would love to talk to them. I have a real affinity for Native Americans. And since I've had some past life memories come back, I know why, because I've had several lives being a Native American. It was funny. In one of them, they showed me, in that one, I was a man. So, I was a warrior. And my wife was my best friend in this lifetime. So we were married in that lifetime. And she died in my arms and there was a battle going on and then I was killed and I fell over and died on her. And, come to think of it, I didn't feel any pain that time either. I was just seeing what happened, because we were so caught up in what was going on. And then there's been some others they've shown me where I was in Native American. So that's probably why I've always felt very drawn to them. The spirituality is just so deep and touching. Yeah. I will look them up. Thank you, Johnny. I really appreciate that. And if you know them and you want to connect us, that would be wonderful. I would appreciate that. Awesome. Okay, gang. So I think I'm going to call it a night. Thank you so much for being here. I really do appreciate you. So until we talk again, much love and many blessings. And if you are not on my mailing list so that you get invited to the Zoom on the third Saturday, do that. If you sign up for the book, you will be on my mailing list and you'll get invited to the Zoom call. So on the Zoom call, we come together, I can see you, and you can ask personal questions in that format. And then what I do is I put the video on YouTube, but it only shows my face. Your faces do not get shown for your privacy. That's the way I do it. So I can see you during the time that I'm doing the readings for you, but your privacy is disguised for YouTube. All right. Johnny says they have a large following and he's thanking me. You're so welcome. Thanks for being here, Johnny. I really appreciate it. Okay. Bye, everybody. Until next time. Mwah. Now I don't know how to end this thing, actually. That's funny. Let's see if I can end it here. Okay, I think I'm ending it. Bye, everybody.